Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, goodness, wherever you find yourself in this big, beautiful, and messy world. I am Carol C. Miller, your positive life strategist, peace activator, and global hugger, coming to you with another episode of Embrace Your Life Chat, where the intention is to heighten celebrations and lessen sorrows through a positive focus. As you can see, I have left my blinds open today because it's not sunny, so I can actually have them open, and I'm here in Chicago. It's 11:30 a.m. my time. It is a normal Chicago spring day. So I hope wherever you are, it is sunny and bright and wonderful, and all good things are happening for you and with you. So let me know in comments where you're joining me from, and let me know in comments if you're new to our community, Positive Focus. We have people from all over the world who join us, and I love seeing where everybody's joining us from. So before we get started on today's topic, especially if you're new to me, what I usually do if it's me solo is I pick a word, define it, come up with an affirmation, and then tips around using that word, incorporating that word into our daily practices of living a life with more love, kindness, compassion, and peace. Those are my 4 top values that I strive to be and work from. So keep that in mind. But the 2 things I really like to share is, one, is I'm not an absolutist. I'm not a big fan of the words always, never, right, wrong, good or bad. There's so much in between always and never, right, wrong, good and bad. So there's 7 billion people on this planet. Can't begin to say what is always right for 7 billion people or never right for 7 billion people. So what I do is I work on a scale of 0 to 100. 0 being always negative, 100 being always positive. I don't know anybody at 0, and I don't know anybody at 100. I know people who are closer to the 0 and closer to the 100, but I don't know anybody who is specifically that all the time. So my work for me personally, my daily practice is personally, and then the people I work with is to be in the 80 to 100% of the time. So 80 to 100% of the time, I'm focused on possibility. I'm focused on love, kindness, compassion, and peace. I'm focused on hope. I'm focused on hate, faith, and I'm not even sure what I was trying to connect the 2 pieces there. I'm focused on what I want in my life more than I'm focused on what I don't want in my life. So what does that mean? It means fear visits me, frustration, unworthiness, disappointment, anger, all of those normal feelings that we go through visit me. But because of my daily practices, they visit, they don't move in. So that's something to think about when you're listening to me. If something sounds right, give it a try. And if it doesn't, let it go, because this is not a one-size-fits-all world. Actually, I always laugh at those one-size-fits-all. I am a small person. I am 4'10". So if I get a one-size-fits-all t-shirt, it's usually like a dress for me. Or somebody who is 5'10" or 6 foot, it's a t-shirt for them. So one size fits all is not what I'm about. It's about finding the majority, staying in the space of love, kindness, compassion, and peace the majority of the time. The second thing I like to remind people is I'm a coach. I love supporting people and growing what their best life looks like and creating space from there. I'm not a counselor, nor am I a therapist. And sometimes to move forward to live our best life requires that type of work to get there. So if it's a coach, a counselor, a therapist, a clergy member, a best friend, whatever it is, I highly encourage you to create that support system around you to live your best life. So let me see if anybody's joining me here in comments. Norway, I'm going to get, Milfred, I'm guessing that is you. When I just see Facebook user, it means that they are in my Embrace Your Life community. So this is being streamed in a few different places. So I apologize if I don't see your name. And also sometimes I don't see names and comments until I go back later in the day and check comments. So I will do that as well. From Mumbai is in the house. From Florida, I'm you know what? I'm not even going to try to guess. It's another one of my Embrace Your Life community people. Ajay is here. Danny is here. Hi, Danny. It's been a long time since I've seen you. Hello, Ginger. Good to see you here as well. So I'm going to leave comments, because if I stay in there and just chat with you, then I won't get on to the topic. I will come back later. So if you have specific questions to today's topic, or if you have something else that you'd would like me to bring a little bit more love, kindness, compassion, and peace to in your life or something that you're going through, please add it in the comments. I will check later in the day too, and I'll check before we close up for today as well. If it's something I'm comfortable discussing, I will share it here on a future talk. I love to have the community's involvement on what I discuss to bring everybody in. This, even though you're just seeing me, it really is a discussion and a chat amongst us. So please put any kind of comments there. And if it's somebody that I know that can support that question that maybe I'm not trained in, I will look into bringing them on board too. It's about heightening celebrations and lessening sorrows through a positive focus. I do think, I haven't mentioned this for quite some time, but I do think a lot of people see being positive as rainbows and unicorns and that life is perfect and there's nothing wrong. Or when something's wrong, we ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. It's not my idea of positivity. My idea of positivity is seeing the best in the situation and working forward from that space. It's about feeling what we need to feel to move forward and grow from. But it's about staying in the space of love, kindness, compassion, and peace the majority of the time. Again, it's been a daily practice of mine for many, many years. So I am that the majority of the time, but I'm not that always. And it's interesting to me when people will say that they're always loving or always kind or always do this. I'm not that, and it's been my daily practice. So I encourage you to release the word always and say the majority of the time I am this, and give yourself a little grace and breathing space for feeling the feels that happen when challenges come up, when painful situations come up, when we're not feeling our best. Be gentle with yourself. So today's word that we're going to talk about is risk. And are you a risk taker, or are you somebody who likes to stay safe in your comfort zone? And when I say safe in your comfort zone, and there's many things that I'm very risk taker oriented on. And then there's other things that I'm like, play it safe and stay there. I've worked for myself and worked on positive focus since 2009. I've had other roles as well. But before, I was always the 9-to-5 person. I worked at organizations. I did a good job. I didn't like it there, but I was uncomfortably comfortable. I knew what was expected. I knew I was going to get the paycheck every 2 weeks. So I played it safe, even though I didn't like being there. Some risk takers, they don't like it. They're going to move on and find what does work. But that safety, security was what I needed then. And now that isn't something that's as important to me. So I encourage you to ask yourself, where are you willing to take risks to live your best life? Risks may be moving. Risk may be changing jobs. Risks may be starting your own company. Risk may be starting a new relationship. Risk may be leaving a relationship that doesn't work. There's so many different things that could be risky in order to live your best life. And only you are going to know what risks you need to take to get there. It's not a right or a wrong. It's not a good or a bad. It's not a always or never. It's what's going to work for you right now. So the word is risk, and the definition is possibility of loss or injury. So that, even when I looked at the actual definition of risk, I thought, wow, that's a little bit more potent than I gave the word. But really, when we are taking risks, we are possibly going to lose something. We're focused on the loss in the risk more than focusing on what we gain by the risk. So even though the actual definition is possibility of loss or injury, keep in mind it's possibility. It's not even saying the probability of loss or injury. It's not saying it's definite going to happen. It's the possibility. And sometimes the possibility of a negative instance experience we avoid, even though there's greater chance in that risk that something good is going to come out of it. It's playing it safe. Only you know if you need to play it safe. I'm not telling you to take risks that you aren't ready for. I'm not telling you to stay safe if that's what feels right. It's about what's going to work for you and feeling safe. I do know staying in our comfort zone is less likely we're going to grow into being what we want to be, because we're just staying comfortable. And change is going to happen whether we want it to happen or not. Every day is a little bit different. It's just usually so similar we don't even recognize that it is a different day. So again, the word risk, possibility of loss or injury. So I would love for you to share in comments if there's something that you're wanting to take that risk about on living your best life. A lot of people think I'm a risk taker, and I would say I generally am, but there are people who take way more risks than me where I feel like I'm play it safe. There are people who play it safe way more than I do. So it's what is comfortable and right for you. And maybe not even comfortable. Maybe that's not a word I should use, because you do want to stretch yourself from where you're at. But focus on the risks you're willing to take to live your best life. So the affirmation for today is, I am worth the risk of living my best life. The loss, I've lost relationships as I move forward into being my best self. Does not mean that other people were right or wrong or good or bad, but they were no longer a fit for me, nor was I a fit for them. So many relationships, people who I thought were going to be lifelong relationships, fell away. New people came in. And so it was a risk I was willing to take to move forward into who I wanted to be. I'm a different person than I was before I started Positive Focus. I used to be just positive. I was the person who told you, just be happy, life is good. And I promise you, the people that I said that to who were going through painful experiences probably wanted to hit me, because it's not always about happiness. It's about moving forward to feel a little bit better in whatever situation you find yourself in. So the affirmation, I am worth the risk of living my best life. If you're new to affirmations, it's just a statement. It's not a negative statement or a positive statement. If you're affirming what you don't like about yourself, or you're affirming what you don't like about your life, that's an affirmation. I would call that a negative affirmation. If you're affirming what you do like about yourself, or what you do like about your life, or what you're wanting to grow into in your life, that would be a positive affirmation. However, a positive affirmation, the statement is, I am smart. I think all of you would agree that that is a positive affirmation. Well, I can say I am smart, but if I am not feeling smart and I'm feeling like I've done everything the opposite of smart, so I've immediately negated that positive affirmation. So it's no longer a positive affirmation for me. So I might go into, I'm in the process of feeling smart. So if you're not ready to take those risks, or you don't feel you're worthy of taking those risks, I would do today's affirmation is, I am in the process of feeling worthy of taking the risk of living my best life. Put them in your words. The better they sound to you, the words that you would use for you. But I really encourage you to come up with these affirmations. You're going to want to say them several times, write them down where you can look at them, but it's to replace the negative thoughts that we've had in our head forever and ever and ever, from the first day we were born to where we are right now, of people who have said things that may not even meant to have been negative, but we have interpreted them and internalized them as unworthy aspects. And I suspect many of you, if you really paid attention to your self-talk, you would find it's more negative than it is positive. Now, keep in mind, on my scale of 0 to 100, 51% means you're in the majority. So my work, because I've been doing it for so long, is to stay in the 80 to 100%. It's not there all the time. Sometimes it's 60, sometimes it's 51, sometimes it's 45. So it's being aware of how I feel and how I want to feel to move forward. So we're going to get into the tips. And if you've been with me before, you know, I would say the majority of times, I'm not going to say always, is to be aware of how you feel. Because when you're aware of how you feel, then you can shift and adjust from there. If you're feeling great, you can stay there. Guess what? If you're not feeling great, you can stay there too. But you're doing it from a conscious decision that you need to stay in this space a little longer. It's not about it being wrong to feel sad, angry, disappointed, frustrated. Any of those things are not wrong. It's how much time and energy do you want to give that power over you. So there's times where I'm angry about something and I'm not ready to release it, but I'm aware of it. So then I can consciously decide, maybe I'm going to give myself, 10 minutes. Maybe I don't know how long it's going to take, but I know that I will eventually work through it. Sometimes just being aware that I'm frustrated or angry, I can shift it like that, because like, wait a second, I'm focused on what I don't want. How can I focus on what I do want? So again, it's not a right or wrong. It's where you're at, where you want to go. So that's the first tip. The second tip is to know your why. Why do you want to live this life? Why do you want to be in this relationship? Why do you want to have this career? Why do you want to have this house? Why do you want to live where you live? When you know your why, and the why is, there's several things to the why. It could be the material things, but even at the end of the day, the material things, it's about what it brings you as far as the feeling. Does it make you feel safe? Does it make you feel happy? Where is it that it's bringing you the joy? Why does that bring you joy? And focus on it from there. When you know your why, then the risk seems a little less impactful, and you can move forward a little bit more, because the why is bigger than your fear of the risk. So know your why. Then the second thing is to be open to it showing up in different ways than you expect. And I've shared this before too, but it's been a while. I started Positive Focus in 2007, just doing events locally here in Chicago, book clubs, movie nights, and things like that. Did not become a nonprofit till 2009, and I started coaching shortly thereafter. But before I started Positive Focus, it was tunnel vision, just Positive Focus. That's the only way my why is going to show up. And my why was to help people feel seen and heard and matter, because I do believe the more people feel seen and heard, the less likely they are to harm themselves and others. So I knew my why, and my why was super strong, and my why was Positive Focus. And I went on a event with Mike Dooley, who I adore, and it was a cruise in 2009, and he asked the group what their whys was, and I told him mine. And he opened it up. He's like, well, if you're go back into the reason of your why, and that was to help people feel seen and to know that they matter, rather than it being Positive Focus. And because he opened up new possibilities for me that were there before him, it wasn't like those opportunities weren't already there, but because he reminded me that I was just so tunnel vision focused on this one aspect. I've worked with so many other people doing amazingly good work on helping people be seen from 2009 up till today that I wouldn't even have thought of working with, because I was so focused on it being Positive Focus. So whatever you're wanting in your life and wanting to take those risks with, be open to them coming up in ways that you don't even know are possible today. And then practice taking small risks each day. Again, especially if you're somebody who likes to be scheduled and know everything that's going to go on in the day and like to play it safe. Again, playing it safe is not right or wrong. It's where you're at and where do you want to be. So if you're wanting to grow and move, there's probably going to be risks involved to get there. The risk of losing someone and the possibility of others coming in too. So keep in mind, with loss, there is usually gain as well. So take risks in, and I'm not good at this risk, to be honest with you. I'm like one of the pickiest eaters. So when I go to a restaurant, I pretty much eat the same thing, even if it's a different restaurant. So eat something different. Go wherever your normal route to work or your route to wherever you normally go. Take a different path to get there. Shift things up from your normal everyday, I don't want to say grind, because I don't think life is a grind, but your everyday pattern of what you normally do. And you're going to open yourself up to opportunities and possibilities just by being in a different environment, just by tasting something different, just by smelling something different. So take some risk that way, some smaller ones to get started. Then the next tip is to get curious about it. It's easy to, I think it's even easier when it's something you really, really want, to focus on every reason it can't happen. And because it's a self-protection, like if I already have said I can't do it, then I'm not going to be disappointed if it ends up not happening. So look at it with curiosity. It's like, I wonder what this would be like if it really works. I wonder what it would be like if I really had that relationship that I want. I wonder what it would feel like to work in that job that I've been yearning to work in, and to meaningful work. But get into the curiosity rather than the, I'm too old, I don't live in the right area, I don't have the right education, nothing ever works out for me. Turn it around, reframe it into being in wonder and in curiosity about it, and focus on the possibility of it rather than focusing on the fear of it not showing up. So you've already put as many possible roadblocks in your way because it's scary to risk into living your life filled with love. And again, I'm talking the majority of the time. I would love to say love always. I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think love is always there. And yet fear still seeps in for me. Maybe it doesn't for you. Maybe you're in 100% love, and that's awesome. I would love to do that myself. But fear still seeps in on occasion. Frustration still seeps in on occasion. So go into the possibility of what living your best life is. And when I say even living your best life, that doesn't mean challenges aren't going to be there. That is part of living. It's about focusing on what you want throughout the challenge and moving forward to feel just a little bit better in that. And then my last tip is to embrace the change and adapt as needed. I can't tell you how many times I've adapted and shifted and changed from the first day I started Positive Focus to where I am right now. And I know new change and new adaptations are coming in. My focus is on love, kindness, compassion, and peace. It shifts, it evolves, it changes and grows on what I see is needed, what I personally need. So if I was stuck on my original vision of Positive Focus, I'd be so disappointed right now, because my original vision of Positive Focus was to have a building here in Chicago, teaching classes, having a living space for like apartments and things like that, and then to eventually have other locations. I don't have a building. I run Positive Focus from my apartment, which I run my business from my apartment. I've worked from home for many, many years now. So it has evolved. If I looked at it that day one, I would be disappointed, because it's not what I originally set out to do in that form. It is what I set out to do, to help people focus on what they want in their lives, to help people see the beauty in the mess in their lives and in the world. So if I focus on the why I was starting Positive Focus, that has changed. It looks completely, well, I shouldn't say the why hasn't changed. The visual aspect of the why looks completely different than what I originally started it to look like. So be able to allow it to shift and change and be different. I also wanted Positive Focus to be a really big, a Red Cross kind of nonprofit. And the more that I move forward from there, like, I don't want to be the CEO of a nonprofit where, okay, I want to make sure that I'm not saying that this is bad, because it's not bad. People use their skill sets for what works for them. I don't want to be a CEO of anything where I'm not involved in the human aspect of daily working with people and seeing people and talking to people. The CEOs of those kind of organizations, they are removed, like, they know their mission, so they're still working on their mission, but they're removed from that actual touch point that I don't want to lose. So had it grown into that bigger entity and me being in that role, I would not be as happy as I am working in the capacity that I do with Positive Focus. So that has changed too. So be open to adapting and changing. Keep your why, and your why could change. Like, my why has probably changed some. My why has been about helping people. And then there's the why do I do that? Because it feels good to me to help people. So it's about how you feel and why you want to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, where you want to do it. So I hope those tips are helpful. Again, the word today is taking a risk. Know what you're ready to. Take a little step further than what you think you can do. And I promise you'll be able to do it the more you practice it, the more you're gentle with yourself, the more you focus on the why. And why do you want to get to that point? Why do you want to feel this way? Why do you want to do this kind of work? Why do you want to have these kind of people around you? Yes, risk is risky, and there is a chance of losing, and there's a chance of injury, of getting hurt. Certainly the people who I no longer have, some of them, like it was time, some relationships aren't lifelong, but some of the ones that I expected to be lifelong, it hurt when those relationships ended up falling wayside. I knew it was for the best for me, but it did not mean it wasn't painful in the time. So be okay and know that your why is worth going through those growing pains. I don't, it just cracks me up using the word growing pains because, again, I'm not very tall, so I never physically had growing pains, but certainly emotionally I've had growing pains as I have changed and evolved through the years. So let me go into comments and see if anybody has any questions. I don't see any so far. Let's see if I've missed anybody here too. Hello, Sylvia. I'm assuming it's Sylvia from London. Hi, Terry. Good to see you. The line from Uncle Bob. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, maybe it's here. You've got nothing to lose. It is rather bleak. And if we're watching this, we have lots to be grateful for. I'm not sure I know that one, but I'll have to check. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you here. Stacia, wonderful. It's hard to make decisions. How do you know if you make the right ones? Stacia, you come up with some great questions. I think that will be another topic because I've already gone long enough today. But one thing I will leave you with today, Stacia, is the majority of decisions we make today can be changed tomorrow. So one thing is to lessen the impact of your decisions. I think some decisions, changing them tomorrow, there are consequences to it. So I'm not saying that there aren't consequences. A friend of mine recently, he's a realtor, and he sold a home to somebody in the suburbs here in Chicago. And a month later, they called him disappointed. Like they wanted to move out of the city. They thought that that was right for them to move out of the city. They moved into a community that was a beautiful community, but more of a sleepy community, and did not have the electricity of living downtown where they had lived before. And so their consequence was the possibility of losing money for buying and then selling in a quick time frame. But when you look at your happiness and your mental well-being, then that decision, and actually I gotta say 3 months later, she did not lose money, but there are consequences to our decisions, even though they can be changed. So I would encourage you to go into, why is the decision important to you? Know that it can be changed. And Stacey, it's such a big topic that I'm going to need to do some thought process on it, because really some decisions are easy, and the harder ones, I'd like to come up with some better tips for you on moving forward from them. But one definitely is that things do change. So your decision today may be right for you for the rest of your life, may be right for you for the next month, and may be right for you for the next 48 hours. It depends on what you're talking about and how you want to move forward. But I would encourage you, Stacia, to come up with an affirmation that I make the right decisions for me right now. I'm in the process of making the right decisions for me right now. I make good choices. I love making good choices. I pay attention to the choices I make. So start affirming that you are a good decision maker rather than you're not a good decision maker, and step into it. If that doesn't feel right, like if I am a good decision maker and you immediately say, no, I'm not, then I'm in the process of being a good decision maker. And remember, it's the decision, the good decision is for you, not necessarily the good decision for other people. And I think that is a lot of times when we have a hard time making decisions, is we're thinking about the impact it has on other people. But at the end of the day, the majority of the time, if it's the right decision for you, it will be right for the other people. They may just not see it yet. So somebody's welcome to the 5 Foot Club. I'm 410 too. I don't know who you are, but you're in my Embrace Your Life community. So awesome. I'm glad to have you here. I don't see any other questions, but again, I will come back later today for anybody who's watching on replay. If you have any topics, how to avoid negative energy. Suman, let me see about that. I'm writing these down because I will forget 20 minutes after this call. So Suman, I'm going to look into doing that one for another topic as well. Thank you. But one thing I would like you and encourage you to say is you don't have to avoid negative energy. I don't know that it's possible to completely avoid it. I don't know when you join, but again, I'm not a one all or nothing, right, wrong, always, never person. It's the majority of the time. So if negativity is at a 0 and 100 is positivity, my focus is to be 80 to 100% in the positive range. I have negative thoughts every single day. I'm sure I have negative words every day. I'm sure some people think I have negative actions every day. I don't know that I have negative actions for me every day, but I'm sure I do have negative actions. So it's not about avoiding them. It's about looking at them and seeing. I like to, when fear would be a negative, sort of. I like to look at it and it's a reminder for me that I'm focused on what I don't want rather than what I do want. How can I move forward into focusing on what I do want? It might require healing something that I have wanted to ignore and avoid and moving forward to heal that. It might just be simply I'm in a bad mood and I don't need to heal something, but I do need to reframe and refocus onto what I do want. So I'd say right now, Suman, for the first tip is to know that negativity isn't wrong. It's not bad. It's how much energy and attention do you want to give it? So one of the things that I do when I am focused on the things that aren't going right in my life or in my day, it's like, this doesn't feel good. What will feel a little bit better? So I reframe it into feeling a little bit better. One of my affirmations that I like to use is that went better than expected. Because if I say that went perfectly or that was the greatest thing ever, I'm giving it a lot of opportunity to not work. But if I say that went better than expected, even if it isn't the best event ever, it probably went better than what I expected it to, because I was expecting from a place of fear rather than from a place of love. So I encourage you, Suman, to give that a try. And I will definitely put this down for a topic on coming up with some other tips too. So I think, let me see if I have anybody else here that's asked a question. Okay, I don't see any other questions. So thank you so much for joining me. I love this community of people being here from all over the world. I know today I saw Mumbai, several places in the States. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's not about being right or wrong, good, bad, always or never. It is about feeling who you are, who you want to be, and how you want to move forward into your life. So I will be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what the topic will be yet. I do know that I'm going to have a friend come join me soon talking about, I don't know, I'll tell you what we're going to be talking about when I have her on here. And so take care, have a great day, and remember, you matter. You matter to me, you matter to the world, and most importantly, you matter to you. So we'll talk soon. Tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Chicago time. So come join me then. So long for now.